Again, we're doing Yaakob, which is from selections from the Masechet Berachot, the first chapter of Masechet Berachot. And what's nice about these selections that it gives us a window into the thinking of the Chachamim, into the philosophical ideas of the Chachamim, because the Chachamim, they had a very unique way of looking at things. They had a very unique philosophy, different than the Greeks, different than the Romans, different than the Arabs. And by studying these selections in the Talmud, we have the opportunity to understand how they thought, how they viewed things, and also what the proper or correct Jewish thinking is. So now today we're going to study a selection that has to do with tefillah. And I'm going to start it. It's in the middle of the page. Amar bichalvo, Amar Ravunna. Kol hakovea makom letfillato, Elohei Abraham yihya be'ezro. Anybody who sets a place for where he prays, meaning he has a set place where he prays, Elohei Abraham yihya be'ezro. The God of Abraham will be in his, will help him. Now, a few things. This is an impossible, if you take this peshat, it's impossible to fulfill because we're always changing our location. One day we're in our office, maybe we're praying in the office. Sometimes we're in the one Bet Knesset, and other times we're in another Bet Knesset. So automatically, the attentive reader should notice that there's a certain difficulty in taking this at the peshat level, right? So the secret to decoding this rabbinic statement, anybody who sets a place for his prayer, the key is the word makom. In Hebrew, the word makom does mean place, right? Sometimes makom kavua could mean place. Makom kavua means a set place.
Right, but I'm saying like in shul, that's your spot. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So some people want it actually interpret it that way. Some people say a specific spot in shul, but the problem is that we know that oftentimes if somebody's sitting on my spot, what do? Do I fight with them? Do I? Right. And why would that matter? Okay, let me ask you to your point. What?
Why is it even a thing?
Why would it matter? Right. Why would it matter? Meaning,
it's everywhere, no? So
right. Like let's say I'm sitting on this side, and then I decide to move to that side. There's the window is open. I'm cold, or the window is closed, and I want to be where the window is open. Whatever it is.
Kavanah.
Okay, you're right. You need to have kavanah. But the key to understanding this is to know that the word makom in Hebrew has more than one meaning. Right. So there's an expression in rabbinic Hebrew. It's as follows: Memale makom avotav bechokma, b'torah u'chokma. A person, he is in the same place as his father in chokmah, in wisdom. Now there, the word makom doesn't mean a space, a geometrical space. It means a certain spiritual level, right? So that's the key to understanding this sentence. It's not where you are physically. I mean, of course, you need to be in the right physical place. When you pray, according to halakha, you cannot be in a place where people are going to bother you. You cannot be in a place which is dirty. You cannot be in a place where there's going to be distractions, right? Of course. But this specific midrash is saying as follows. When you pray, you should have a particular mental space, and you should enter that mental space, right? Let me explain to you what the mental space is. Shalom Aleichem. Baruchim Abayim. Right. Yeah. Not to mention that this isn't codified by Harambam. Harambam summarizes all of the Talmudic laws, and it doesn't codify that you need to be in the same space, physical space. So the idea of a spiritual space, the son of Harambam, he discusses this. He uses an Arabic term in kata'a, and kata'a means that when a person wants to pray, he should cut himself off, right? So what do you mean to cut yourself off? So normally our regular default mental spaces. There's many different stimuli around us. There's things we see, there are things we hear, and we react to the stimuli around us.
Is that what the Hasidim wear that thing around their
Oh no, that's a different thing. That's because there's a law that says that when you say Kriyat Shema, your heart is not supposed to see your lower part of your body, right? Back then, people had a robe and not much more, so you would have something, right. Today, people, we've changed just a little, thank God. And we don't have that issue anymore, but they continue, they put the belt around their waist as a symbol, I guess, of what they used to do with back then. Be that as it may, that's different. So you see, that's a different law, right? That's as to do with the law Kriyat Shema. But getting back to the Rabbi Avraham ben Harambam in Kata'a, he says that when you want to be in the presence of the Almighty, for example, you're saying Kriyat Shema. So the first pasuk of Kriyat Shema, when you say it, you have to cut yourself off completely from any distractions, be them physical, be them mental, right? Now, the word that the Hakamim use for Kriyat Shema is Yehud Hashem. So everybody explains correctly. What does Yehud Hashem mean? Milashon Echad. Yehud Hashem means that you're declaring the oneness of the Almighty. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. One. So Yehud Hashem means the declaration that there is one God. Okay. My father explained to me something very deep about Yehud Hashem. It's also Milashon Yehud. So for example, when a person marries a woman, he does Yehud with her. He's alone with her. And by being alone with her in that way, it's like Kenisa L'Chuppah, and in that way he's considered to have be married with her, fully married. The Yisuim is considered to be completed. Yichud, or for example, it's forbidden to be alone with a woman who you're not supposed to be with. That's called Yichud. So my father explained to me that Yichud Hashem doesn't just mean to declare that God is one. It means to be alone with God in the room. So there's this mental place in your mind, and when you say Kriyat Shema, you enter that mental place, or that mental space, and at that point, all outside stimuli are no longer relevant. That's Yichud Hashem. And you need to do that. When you say the Amidah, you need to have that Yichud Hashem. You need to have that mental space. Harambam writes, and Shulchan Aruch writes, and everybody agrees, that if a person says the Amidah, but didn't have that proper kavanah, lo yaseh yecholato, he didn't fulfill the obligation. So the idea of kol hakoveh makom b'tfilato means you know how to set yourself up for the prayer so that you're in that specific mental space. You understand the idea of koveh makom? And now you understand the idea. If you're sitting in the same place in Knis all the time, let's say the same exact seat, but you don't have kavanah in the tefillah, all right, it's not, doesn't matter. You can sit in the same place, not the same place. If a person doesn't have a kavanah, it's not going to work. Nothing's going to happen. If a person has kavanah, like I just said, and he cuts himself off, and he feels that he is in the presence of the Almighty, now he prays. And now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to listen to the prayer of that person. Okay? Right?
The guy was just sitting there and this is my Makom Kavua. Every day I sat here for 40 years and I was playing on my phone all day long.
Yeah.
How is it? Okay, but I'm here.
Right.
Why is God helping this guy as opposed to the guy that moves around but he is coming on like an angel? Of course.
So you see the omek of the thing. And now, how do we uchshemet umnim alav anav echasid? If when he passes away, he's going to have a good hesped. Hesped is one of the things when the neshama dies. It feels a certain sense of pain leaving the body, and the hesped, it's sort of a consolation for the neshama when people speak beautiful words about the deceased. And then that helps the neshama. The problem is that it's forbidden to say things that just aren't true. Meaning, it's okay to exaggerate, but if somebody is a rasha, you can't say, "Wow, this guy was the biggest tzaddik ever." You don't know. you can't say that. It's asur, bar minan. If a person does that, the maspid also could be hurting himself. Forget about the hurting the deceased, but hurting himself, right? So you never want to do that. So you have to be very careful when a person gives a hesped, if he's invited to give a person's invited to give a hesped, to be very careful what he says and not just to throw things out. So the Gemara says they're going to say about this person, what an anab, what a chassid. So anab means a person of humility. Now let me explain to you the connection between being in that mental space and humility. And now this will help you in your journey to enter that mental space by understanding the idea of anava. So there's always things that occupy our mind, and these things are important to us. So if I'm praying and I just got a message from the bank, there's some problem with your account, it's going to occupy my mind, right? So at that point, I can either decide to pray or I decide to deal with the bank. I can't do both. But if I pray and I'm thinking about the bank, the reason is because I have these things that are important to me, and they're so important that I can't just overlook them. A person who, when he's praying, has the power to overlook things that are of importance, that's anava. That's exactly the meaning of anava. The meaning of anava is, God, I know this is your presence, and I know your presence is real, is more important for me than the things that I consider to be, whatever it is. So that's why when he passes away, they will acknowledge this was a person of humility. See the connection? Humility means the ability to overcome yourself. Sometimes we get into fights with people, and the fights is because we are like so engrossed in ourselves. Even if you hurt us, a guy hurt me and he did something wrong, but I'm like, I'm going nuts. Just get over yourself. You know that expression, get over yourself. We have trouble getting over ourselves. So that's anava. What about chassid? So why chassid? So we know Avraham Avinu was gomer chasadim tovim. Was important. Was a person who was interested in giving. So what is the connection? So first of all, Avraham Avinu was a chassid. Second of all, when you're willing in your prayer to get over yourself and to focus on the Almighty, and I'm going to elaborate on that in a moment, then you're willing to also see the perspective of others. You're willing to also think about, what can I do to help that person? What can I do to help this person? What can I contribute to the world? Oftentimes we're so engrossed in ourselves, we're not thinking about, okay, what did you give to the world? Like God is like looking at you. You want me to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G for you. What are you doing for the world? Are you doing anything for the people around you? Are you contributing? Are you doing something good? Right? So part of developing that relationship with God is humility, getting over ourselves, and then understanding we're not at the center of the world. And then you become like Abraham Avinu. He was a chassid exactly for that reason. He used to do kindness with other people, be it achnasat orchim, or whatever Abraham Avinu used to do, feeding the poor. All these things, acts of chassidut, means acts where I'm thinking not of what's good for me, but what can I do for others. So that's a relationship between the kovei makom letfilato and being a chassid. Now I'm going to get to the next point in a moment, but first, are there any questions?
Somebody said that the humility piece is one of the byproduct of knowing if you really, before Kadosh Baruch Hu in your Amidah and your food, Shivita Hashem Eloheinu Tamid, and your focus, wow, I am nothing. I'm in the presence of the King of Kings, and it just makes you bow your head even further and realize if you fully incorporate that into your mind.
Yeah.
The humility comes as a byproduct automatically. If you focus, then you realize, whoa.
Yes. It's when a person focuses on the Almighty and he understands what it's about, it creates a sense of humility for sure.
Yeah, wasn't there people, I don't remember, I read it, they used to before praying in the morning, they would contemplate for hours before what they were going to do to get to the level of kavanah they needed to in order to pray to Hashem.
Right. פרק 50 מסכת ברכות, אין עומדים להתפלל אלא מתוך כובד ראש. חסידים הראשונים היו שוהים שעה אחת ומתפללים, Kadesh Yechabenu et Yibam Hashamayim. That's what you're referring to. So 5th chapter of Masechet Berachot, that first it says when you pray, you should have that kavanah. That's a mental space. And then, and you were very right for bringing that up, because it continues and it says, the Mishnah continues and it says, and by the way, the Hasidim, the earlier Hasidim, and again, a Hasid is a person who's always looking about what I can do for the world, not what the world can give me. So they used to take an hour. I don't know what they used to do. They probably used to reach some level of Ruach HaKodesh, some sort of almost prophetic trance, but it would take them an hour to detach themselves and enter that space, and then they would begin to pray. Right? Now the reason we have Baruch She'amar Vayah Ha'olam, Ashrei, Hallelujah, that's all to help us get into that right, exactly. Level, and eventually by the time you get to Kriyat Shema, you really could do Yichud Hashem, and then you're in the Amidah. And the Amidah, you stand before the Almighty. Now I want to explain something additional. Yeah, go ahead, Albert.
The problem is now, when you're doing it 3 times a day, every day, there's no way people are going to have that level of concentration and doing it every. Maybe you get the hotel, okay, fine, we're going by the hotel, you're going to have kavanah like that. But someone's coming to shul 3 times a day.
It's a challenge. God challenges us. It's not easy. I agree. It's like I'm not going to pretend like it is. It's just not, And then and especially when a person is struggling in life, I just said, oh, you should like just cut yourself off, But if you're in pain, it's really hard.
Everything's going on their mind.
It's funny. It's not easy. I'll just share with you a story for no reason other than it's a true story and it happened not long ago. Just do with it what you want. But yeah, it's not easy. I'm not going to pretend it's easy. And even after I tell you this story, it's not going to change the fact that it's not easy. But I'm just giving you an example of the way these things work. So I was about to pray Shachrit, and so I got an email from the bank, some unusual activity, and I'm like, really, I don't want to deal with it. But so I realized I'm going to pray, and I'm going to be thinking about the unusual activity. But then I'm thinking, Uli, I don't even have the original debit card. I'm going to have to figure out the number of the bank, which number to call. Then I won't have my debit card. The AI like nowadays is actual, not the AI that we use for our own personal things. It's actually quite good. But anytime you get customer service AI, it's like mentally retarded. It's like you can say the same thing over and over again. It'll send you to the, what I'm saying? I do not need to get my account information. Thank you. We will give you your account information. And I don't need it. It's great. It's actual. I think it's a crime against humanity. I think whoever makes these customer service AI bots should be taken to the Hague and put on trial. But that's my own personal opinion. Anyway. Well, I know, of course. 100%. Like, you want to tell me they can't have a Chat GPT that I pay $30 a month for, which is actually excellent.
Half of the customer services that you call today, their name is Freddie, but they're from India.
Yeah. Oh, that's another great one.
Okay, my name is.
That's all. Could I help you, please? Your chicken's roosting, crowing in the background. Yes, this guy's really going to get deeply into solve my problems for me. Anyway, so and I'm thinking, I don't even have my old debit card. I have no way of telling them what my account number is. I have no way of calling them. I'm already in my mind. I don't want to deal with this. Okay, whatever. But then I say, I'm going to pray the Kavanah. I actually made a concerted effort. I'm going to pray the Kavanah. I get home. I see a pile of papers on the dining room table. Literally, as I walk home, and my old debit card is on top. My wife found it somewhere. She was cleaning her pocketbook, and she had it for months, if not years. I guess it was no longer useful for her because I gave her a platinum Amex while you see it. Right? Okay. Anyway, so she found it. Literally, I didn't see it in over a year or two, and it was waiting for me as I walked into the house, right there. I'm like, Yishtabach Shemo. I saw the number, called up, put in my, the thing, and I the problem solved in 5-10 minutes. No issue. Right? It's I'm giving that because that story illustrates that when you make that effort, Hashem sees it. I don't know what Hashem is going to do. I'm not saying all your life's problems are going to be solved. I don't know. But Hashem sees it. You know what I'm saying? And there's like a certain, there's always going to be a reward. There's always a reward for making that extra effort, right? What? Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly.
So I just gotta do what I gotta do, the right thing, finish.
Yes.
Things will fall in place.
Exactly. Do the right thing. Now, I just want to say one more thing about the tefillah. Now you're saying, well, what are you talking about, Rabbi? I mean, when I pray, I am thinking about my problems and I'm asking God to solve my problems for me. So, like, which is it? Like, is it, right? Like I just said, no, you're praying, cut yourself off. But I need help in my business, I need help in my this, I need help in that, I'm going to make a tefillah, a sick person, I have a lot of things on my mind, and I want to pray about them. So this is the important point. When you start the prayer, the first 3 berachot are not about you. It's about God. Now sometimes people, they have something they really want to pray for, and from the minute they start the tefillah, they're thinking about what they really want to pray for. That's a mistake. Right, so there's something really like urgent, an emergency, and you want to pray for it. So you're saying, Elokeinu, Elokei Avotenu, and you're thinking about that emergency. You know, Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Baruch Atah Hashem, Magen Avraham, and you're thinking of the emergency. That's exactly the mistake that everybody makes.
Amidah, the first 3 prayers.
Amidah, the first 3 berachot, Magen Avraham, Nechayeh HaMetim, Ha'el HaKadosh. That's about God. That's about God. You're praising God. And that's the idea of anava. The idea of anava is, okay, I know you have something bothering you. Give that up for now. I want you to experience my presence. And then, Tachonen, I need help with my test. Give me wisdom. I need help. I want to know how to navigate this negotiation. Tachonen l'adam da'at, right? Hashivenu aminu torotecha, right? Help us do the right thing. We said let's do the wrong thing. Selach lanu, please forgive us. But that's a really big one. It's a really big one. No, I'll tell you why it's a big one. People are always asking God for things. The number one impediment to God giving us what we want is Selach lanu avinu ki hata'u. That's a big one. That's like one of the biggest ones. You say, God, please forgive me. I really feel horrible about what I did. Selach lanu avinu ki hata'u. You're asking God, if God forgives you, there's going to be a lot of good things happening, right? So that's the Selach lanu avinu ki hata'u. I'm sorry, yeah.
Is it appropriate in each of the brachot, like the way you did it, to have things in mind, like Selach lanu, forgive me for this, Tachonen, help me with this negotiation, or is that really Shema Kolenu, stick with the text, Shema Kolenu, you throw in everything, is what we usually learn, or can we do it the way you said, where you're putting in the appropriate section, okay, also keep in mind, my family member or whatever.
Right. You may, whatever you want. I like being specific, but there's nothing wrong with waiting till the end, and in Shema Kolenu, you mention what you want to mention. Of course,
so
either way is good.
Add it into those other brachot?
You may add it into those other berachot. Right? Like, I want to make aliyah, please Hashem, help me make aliyah. Kibbutz galuyot, I want to be part of kibbutz galuyot, please help, right? Ashiva Shabbatenu kebarishona, please give us good leaders. The leaders are so lousy, they're always whatever. So you add that in. But you can wait till Shema Kolenu. You can say, God, Shema Kolenu, please accept my prayer, and then add a specific.
There's nothing wrong with adding your own wording into the existing brachot.
Right. The only thing I would say is just to choose. Try to choose precise words. Try to choose precise language. Meaning, the same way when you bring a korban, an animal, you're not going to bring a blemished animal. You want to be precise in the way you speak before the Almighty. Right? This is very important. I know people think, what's the big deal? I'm just saying. No. Be respectful. It's about respect. So when you speak to the Almighty, speak with respect. And accept the fact that He may or may not answer you. And you're not making demands. You're asking. You're asking God, please look at me favorably. I'm not worthy, but I want you to help me. That's the tefillah. That's anava. That's the idea of anava again, right? And the idea of chesed is because you're giving others, God is going to give you. If you're a person who only thinks how to take, and that's like your whole thing is taking it, and they say, God, please, I need something. What did you ever do for the world? I put you in the world, and what are you doing? What did you give? Are you doing anything? I want you to do me a favor. Really? Did you ever do anybody a favor? So that's anava and chesed. Those are the pillars of the tefillah, right? Understand?
And the
Let me give you a paper.
Timing of the request is like, the spot, like you start the bracha, right before Kiyata, is that right?
Yes, אתה שומע, דיבור מלפניך מלכנו. Not כי אתה.
In the middle, התוך פניך.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Oh, right. No, so it depends on every bill.
Right before it says Ki.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You have to see, yeah. Before the word ki, you know, you say, please send refuah to this and this person. Exactly. Before you say ki el tov mitiv ata, God help me with my parnasa. I need help with the parnasa, and you say, and then ki el tov mitiv ata. Right? So always it's before that.
It doesn't really matter.
So I'll tell you why. Of course, we only have what we have. Yeah, a person may not be sophisticated in the way he speaks. But when you approach God, try to use the smartest, most precise way that you can do it. So I'm giving you the way I do it based on my understanding, because I understand. And I'm giving you that information so that now you know it, and now you can come to God in a better way.
No, I agree with that, but like at the point of the beracha, when you're saying it, of when to ask for something or when to...
Yeah, because otherwise you could be ruining the beracha. You know, it's beautiful words. And before you get to the closing, that's the best place, because it doesn't ruin the beauty of the language. See what I'm saying? You want to keep the beauty of the original language. No, because in the Amidah you're standing before the Almighty.
You can do both.
You're showing, you're standing before God. You're drawing your attention to God. Because don't forget, people make a mistake. It's not just about saying words. I can say all the words in my mind, but if I'm not thinking about God, it's not going anywhere. The only way for your words to have some sort of meaning is the mind behind the words. And when you're in the Amidah, you're at the highest level. That's the makom. So just say, God, please help me. Okay, whatever. Like, I'd love to help you, but like who are you talking? Are you talking to me? Because I didn't hear anything. I wasn't. I say, hey, Marcus, come here. You hear me, right? You just heard me? I say, Elokei Abraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakob. And I'm thinking about it, and I'm looking in that direction. So if let's say somebody calls your name Marcus, and like the guy's looking in another direction, I guess he's looking for another Marcus, right? And if he's not looking at you, don't want to answer him. Like, well, what is wrong with you? Like, why are you looking at that direction? Right? I mean, there's a myriad possibilities. You need a good lawyer. Oh, I'm a lawyer. Forgot. Okay. All right. So that's the proper way to come before God, is with respect and with humility. I felt it very strongly this summer when I was in Israel, and I went to the Har HaBayit, and for the first time we were allowed to pray in Har HaBayit. In the past we went there, we were not allowed to pray. This time we were allowed to pray, and it was really just very powerful. So they had minyan. They actually had minyan for shahid, minyan for milcha. It was wow.
Probably feels crazy.
It was scary, actually. Just to be honest, it was scary. If you're going to go up there and do that, just be make sure to make tefillah, not to be wearing shoes, not to have any, lightheaded thoughts. Be very, a lot of kavanah. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
I mean, you do that the first time, the second time, so after you're there every day.
In the Har HaBayit?
No. I'm saying in general. I'm not saying
That's. I agree.
That's the test stuff.
It's a challenge. I agree. It is. No, it's difficult. I'm not going to pretend like it's easy. It's not. We do what we can do, but at least you're aware of this now, so you'll make more of an effort. So maybe if in the past you would have done it once every 20 prayers, maybe you'll do it now once every 50.
Every day.
Right.
It's time to have fun. I was like, I don't want to get up. I don't want to pray.
You have to.
And I get up and I pray anyway, but like.
Beautiful. God bless you. That's beautiful. Hazako Baruch. That itself is a thing. I'm giving you, as your rabbi, I'm giving you additional ways to fortify your tefillah and make you a better person. And hopefully Hashem brings beracha to those who pray before Him. So.
You have minyan in your office. Look at it that way.
We have. Yeah, but it's also smack in the middle of the day. So
It's hard. I agree. I 100% acknowledge. I myself work, and I know that it's not easy in the middle of the day to suddenly, boom. You know, when I used to study in yeshiva, I used to do a 20-minute Amidah. I had Talet and Tefillin all day. I would be studying Torah, Talet, Tefillin, Amidah would be 20 minutes. No problem. I don't pray for 20 minutes Amidah nowadays. I got to tell you, I'm in the middle of the day. I have one call, another call. All these, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Right? Okay, that's the reality.
I actually have another question about Amidah. So there's times when you say the Amidah and you have a lot of Kavanah. And then there's other times when you say the Amidah, you have Kavanah, but you're not thinking during each prayer or beracha the same way you would maybe in the morning or maybe at a certain point of the day. Just doing it by rote, but having still Kavanah, but not at the same level, right?
Yeah.
You're just going through it.
Yeah.
Is that common?
That's common. And the most important aspect of Kavanah, sometimes you're not going to follow the meaning of the words. Okay, no problem. Fair enough. I understand that happens. But your thoughts should be directed towards God. So the minimum kavanah that we aspire for is, when you come to Israel and then you're in the Kotel and you have a certain feeling of presence, try to capture that feeling of presence in your mind. And at the minimum, when you're starting the tefillah, at least during the first beracha, have that feeling of presence. Say, I feel like I'm in the Kotel or wherever that holy place is. There's a synagogue next to the Kotel that I pray in also, which is like, it's right there. It's actually even closer to the Kodesh HaKodashim. I don't know if anybody knows the Muslim Quarter. If you go from the Kotel to the Muslim Quarter, about 5 minutes and then turn right, there's the stairs, and then there's a yeshiva there. So that's my place. That's a place that I imagine. So I'm there, I'm like, just completely cut off. That feeling of being cut off and being in the presence of God is the beginning. And if you did that, even if you don't follow every single word, you're in a much better place than if you don't do that. Yeah?
Right, I think what you said is the first beracha.
First beracha is minimum. The rest of the berachot, you want to go with like that. Now you're traveling to Miami, to wherever, there's 81 degrees there, wait, it's going to snow again this weekend, I'm going to have to shovel this, okay, but the first, right, when a person finishes praying, the truth is you should always say, Beruchim Haba, maybe you should say, Berukat HaGomel now, where did you travel this time? Okay, but the first beracha, just for that beracha, make the effort to have that consciousness of presence. See that? That you can do. It's hard, it's not easy, but you can do it. Your question.
Is there a difference between B'yachid and a minyan as far as, because I was once taught that if you're inside of a minyan, you're couched inside the minyan as far as, let's say if you didn't have as much kavanah as you should, and then it's passed because of the fact that you're in a minyan.
Yeah, of course. The tefilato shel adam nishmat besibur. When a person is praying in a minyan, it's a more powerful prayer. And that by itself will bring more credence before the Almighty. Because when you're in a minyan, the Shekinah is there. When you're alone, depends on your mind and whether you can bring that power, right? But if you're minyan, you're much better. You feel that presence much more effectively.
If somebody has more kavanah, maybe wants to go pay away the beach by himself, have more kavanah than being in shul.
Look, a person should always lechatchila pray in the shul. If there's some reason or something, listen. Even if a person does that, I've been on trips, where there's no minyan. I was in Vermont in some place. There's no place to pray. Okay, what am I going to do there? A Reform synagogue about 10 miles away. So it's easy to say, wow, I'm inspired. It's a forest, but the only thing is, you can't. Meaning, you have to not conflate seeing a beautiful sunset and enjoying the beautiful sunset with focusing your mind on the presence of the Almighty. Sometimes people make that mistake and they, they're so beautiful. Never had such kavanah. What were you having kavanah? The sunset, the beautiful waves, the sound of the waves, or were you really thinking about Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yaakob? So as long as you use that beautiful sunset as a way to free your mind from the things that are bothering it, so that now you can really have kavanah, that's good.
Or you can use it the same amount of Maaseh.
No, it's true. But
you see God's creation, then you get inspired.
no problem.
Right.
But don't I was like once I told Vermont that of Shabbat, beautiful forest, and I felt the kedusha, and I stopped myself. I said, I'm not thinking about the forest. The forest is beautiful, Marabu Ma'asecha Hashem, and it was inspiring, and I let the beauty flow in, and I said, now that the beauty is in, I can really have kavanah, and I did that. That's the way to do. If you're going to follow that route, make sure to follow it correctly. Okay?
Use it as the springboard to have more concentration of colors.
Exactly. Okay.
Everybody put on your phone, 7:15 million. Don't.
100%, by the way. All right. Okay. So let's continue. And how do we know this? How do we know that Avraham Avinu set a place? תכתיב וישכם אברהם בבוקר אל המקום אשר עמד שם את פני השם. Avraham Avinu woke up to the same spot that he was standing there prior. Let me explain to you what happened. This is talking about Sodom V'Amorah. So Avraham Avinu, after he does Berit Milah, 3 malachim come to visit him. Then a few of the malachim, they go towards Sodom V'Amorah. And Avraham Avinu is accompanying the malachim. And probably he was in the area somewhere in the mountains of Israel. But then if you go towards the southeast, let's say, you eventually reach like a lookout where you can see the Jordan Valley below. And then you would see Sodom V'Amorah. Sodom V'Amorah is where the Dead Sea is today. So now, Avraham Avinu is accompanying the angels, and he gets to that overlook, and now he sees the area of Sodom V'Amorah. And God says, I have to tell Avraham Avinu what I'm about to do. I'm about to destroy the city. I have to tell him. So he tells him. So Avraham Avinu now is, having back and forth, 50 people, 45 people, 40 people. Okay, you know the story, right? Finally, they said, God, in his mercy, he decides to save Lot, because Lot was the nephew of Abraham. Fine. The next morning, it says, Vayashkem Avraham. What did Avraham Avinu do? So he took an Airbnb in the area and he stayed in the same spot? No, he went back home. So what does it mean that he woke up in the same place?
Mental state.
Thank you. Exactly. It's obvious. It's obvious that Makom here means mental space. Meaning he was in a space of Nevuah, and he wants to return to that original Nevuah, and he's asking God, what happened? And God shows him what happened. You understand? So it's the mental space. So the mental space is powerful. There's a lot to say about quantum mechanics in this regard, and how we're all used to thinking that there's an objective reality, and to a certain extent there is. I'm not saying there isn't, but there's a certain thing that the mind does, and there's a certain relationship between the external reality and the mind. Be that as it may, Avraham Avinu returns to the place of Nevuah, which is the highest form of reality. That's all I'm trying to say. Let's continue. We know that when it says Asher Amad Sham, that Avraham Avinu stood there. What do you mean he stood there? It's referring to the Amidah, the Tefillah. And we know that's because the Pasuk says, V'yamot pinachas v'yipalel. So what happened is that before the Jewish people entered the land of Israel after 40 years in the desert, there was a horrible incident with Zimri ben Salu and Kozbi Batsur being the princess of Midian, Zimri ben Salu being the president of the tribe of Shimon, and there was they brought Benot Midian to cause the Jewish young men to do Avodah Zarah, and there was a Magefa, and people were dying, and Moshe Rabbeinu was told to gather the leaders of the Jewish people and act upon to react to what's happening, not to let it happen. And then one of the leaders of the Jewish people, as I said, the president of Shimon, Zimri ben Salu, instead of joining Moshe Rabbeinu, he publicly takes this Goya and he's with her. So that's it. There was a Magefa, and Moshe Rabbeinu started crying because he realized it's over. If the leaders are doing this, and the leaders are the ones who are supposed to stop it, and instead of stopping it, they're joining. Uli, why? So Moshe Rabbeinu starts crying. The people around him start crying. They don't know what to do. So the pasuk says, "Vayamot Pinachas vayfalel." Pinachas stands up, and he does the word vayfalel could mean two things. It could mean vayfalel means he did judgment, which is a peshat, which means to say he went and he killed Zimri ben Salu and Kozbi Batsur himself. He didn't wait for the court to make a decision. The derasha here is Vayfalel milashon vayitpalel. he prayed to Hashem. Meaning, when he did what he did it in a state of nevuah. Because you would say, this person, Pinechas, he's doing what he's doing as an act of rage, as an act of anger. He's a hothead. Young people are often hot-headed. He wasn't young at this point, but it doesn't matter. He's a hothead. No. He did it from a place of prophecy. He did it from a place of higher intelligence. He didn't just do it. You see what I'm saying? That's why the actual halakha is that if a person tries to follow Pinechas and there's a similar situation, the person who's making the avon has a right to kill the person who's trying to kill him. Like, can you say that? The secret is, Pinechas didn't come as a hothead. He came from a place of understanding, of spirituality. And then he did what he did. Okay, let's continue. Let's get, another 2-3 minutes, we're good? Yeah.
I got confused on what you were saying.
Please.
This last piece. Meaning, in other words, the person who was about to get killed from Pinchas, for example, had the right to protect, to defend himself if he did or didn't do it consciously?
Yeah, let me explain the law. I said it too quickly. You're right. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a law. There's a law based on this incident that if a person sees somebody in public, whatever, doing,
right,
that the Kanaim can kill him. They don't have to come to court because he's publicly desecrating God's name. It's like a Chilul Hashem. The guy's a Jew, he's with the Goya, he's showing everybody it's okay, no consequences. So that's halakha, Kanaim pogim bo. Okay, why? That's what Pinechas did. So now, if the person who's making the avon kills the person who's trying to kill him, he's patur. Why?
only in the coming.
Right. I mean, the guy's about to kill him, and he grabs the gun and he shoots him back. He's patur.
Right.
So we don't tell. The Gemara actually says halachad and morin. We're not going to tell anybody to do this act of kanaut. So why wouldn't we tell anybody to do the act of kanaut? Pinechas did it. Why not? Why don't we say no? We want to do an act of kanaut. Kanaut means I'm angry. I'm going to go. There's a lot of young angry people in the world. Okay, there's a lot of young angry people who will happily press the button and blow up the whole world because they're not intelligent people, because they're not thinking. But you have a lot of this, among the young people. You have a lot of this, like sometimes extreme feelings and extremism, and the point of this Gemara is Pinechas was not coming from a place of extremism. He was coming from a place of intelligence. The Jewish people were going to be killed. It was all going to be over. And he realized what's happening. And he goes and he does what needs to be done. Right? What? Hora'at Shah. Exactly, it was Hora'at Shah. Okay.
He got a big reward for that too, right?
And of course, the reward was immense.
Kohen, right?
He was not just Kohen. He apparently never died. You see him at the end of Shofetim, and he's still alive hundreds of years later. And then the Chachamim say that Pinechas is Eliyahu Navi, which makes sense. And Eliyahu Navi never dies. He eventually just goes up in a chariot. So yeah, the reward was immense for what he did. But my point is that not every Kanai is Pinechas. There's a lot of young zealots who I'm Kanai. I was in yeshiva once. Yeah, everything is Kanaut. I'm Kanai. No, you're not Kanai. You're just like, get married and have children and have a little responsibility in your life and build something and then tell me you're a Kanai. You know what I'm saying? You built nothing in your life. You did nothing. You accomplished something. I'm a Kanai. Okay, bravo to you. That also, the point is, the omek of the Amud Pinechas Vayfalel is, he did something very, very extreme. He went and he killed. Okay. But he did it from a place of extreme intelligence and spirituality. He didn't do it from a place of anger or this or that, You understand the point? It's different. It's different. If you have young people running the world, there'll be like no world left. As it is, we're in a very bad place. But can you imagine like young people? This is the problem of Mandani. The problem of Mandani is that now they're bringing all these young people, the young vote is voting for young people. It's going to destroy them. We'll see what happens in New York.
So if he would have defended himself and he killed Pinchas, this guy would have been guilty because it was thought through.
Yeah.
Right? He wouldn't be patur. Does that make sense?
If he killed Pinchas, but the point is, Hashem was with him. That's an impossible. Meaning, a person like Pinchas who's doing this type of act from from a place of spirituality, he was not in danger. Nobody was killing him. Nobody was killing him. That's the point. That's the point. That's exactly the point. Because if you're a regular kana, young person, I'm going to do an act of kanaut. Okay, just you should be aware that the guy you're trying to kill can also try to kill you, and we're not going to say anything against him. So you're not being a chas. Exactly, you're not being a chas. Right? That you understand. Very important to know this. I'm sorry.
It's basically a way of warning these young Kanaim not to do that.
Yes, exactly.
Because you don't trust their judgment to always be like.
Yeah, exactly. You know, every time the guys with I think, oh, sorry, it's not a goy. Oh, I thought it was a goya. You know,
so he could commit a lewd and lascivious act in the town square.
Maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should deal with that, but not.
He can kill the Kanaim, and get away with it.
Yes, meaning if a person was in that situation where, this person is with the goya, and then somebody tries to kill him, he can kill him back. He can kill him before he kills him. Right? Meaning the transgressor can kill the kanai before the kanai kills the transgressor. That's a halacha. Right?
And the sense of that is,
we don't want kanaim. We don't want young, hot-headed people to start, starting turf wars and killing and this, because right? And that's what the Chachamim say, it's patur. Right?
Doesn't mean he's scot-free.
in other words,
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, it doesn't mean we're going to allow the guy to be with the guy either.
Yeah.
The guy, but the court will arrest him, and the court will deal with
so
him.
no, it's not. They want to stay away from mob justice. Basically.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I think this is a good spot to end. So anyway, in summary, it's good to pray the kavanah, cut yourself off. Remember, remember my father, the beautiful word yichud. It's a beautiful word. It really captures the idea I'm alone right now. You know what I'm saying? There's nobody with me. It's just me and the Almighty. And imagine you really are alone with the Almighty. You don't have to imagine because it's real. But just imagine it for a moment. Somebody's knocking on the door and you're talking to the Almighty. And somebody's knocking. You're not interrupting, right? There you go.
Thank you.